B, this is Luna. And Luna, this is my girlfriend B. Stolas, is that you?
Are you sleeping with an imp?
Yeah, there be a wee bit of a double standard in hell. Shocker, I know, as everyone and their brother was talking shit about Stolas banging an imp, yet Beelzebub dates a hellhound and nobody bats an eye. I'm not saying that I'm surprised that hell is full of hypocrites, but I do think that this is a situation worth diving deeper into, as this couple flatlined Luna's ship, so we might as well talk about Vortex and Beelzebub, especially since even if you don't have a problem with it, this woman is one of the 7 rulers of hell, and like Tex is hot, but she is out of even Stolas' league.
I'm what you want, not what you need.
So context for why this couple is so crazy. The first thing, hell sucks. It's a quasi-caste system where depending on what type of demon you are born as, determines your place in society. Lucifer and his family are at the top, then we got the 7 deadly sins, who each rule Ring of Hell, and after them is the rich asshole Goishas. Then we have a lot of other people. Then way down at rock bottom, you have imps. And just beneath the Earth's crust, you got hellhounds. As yeah, hell is already racist towards imps. Kids are dropping slurs in public like they're gamers. Imps are stuck with the worst jobs in life, with it taking extreme talent or crime to rise to any position of prominence. But even then, people are still gonna treat them like they're nothing, which is somehow still better than the strays that hellhounds are catching, as imps are still barely acknowledged as people. Hellhounds have the raw deal of being people who get treated like pets. Even the nicer imps like Millie are making microaggressions, as she just keeps referring to Luna as just the hellhound. If you're not family, people are gonna assume you're the family dog, which is wild, since there's nothing that really separates hellhounds from the rest of hell's furry denizens. Hellhound orphanages are just people-sized pounds, so they're basically prisons, with adoption getting treated even ickier, as it's basically just picking out a pet and not a fully sentient being, which is a big yikes for me. It's within this cultural stigma against everybody and anybody lower than them on the totem pole that it looks pretty crazy that Vortex, a lowly hellhound who works as a bodyguard for a pop star, was somehow able to get pulled by the queen bee of hell, Beelzebub, the sin of gluttony, and for everyone else to just kinda be cool with it. Now, there is a couple different explanations you can go with. First, and I already mentioned this in my review of the episode, which somehow is trending, Beelzebub is one of these 7 deadly sins. There's like only 3 people above her in the hierarchy, so nobody else is willing to fuck around and find out by commenting on who she's banging. Maybe the other rings are judging, but they aren't about to say anything. This woman could do whatever she wants, and everyone else is just gonna have to deal with it, as she is rich. The rules literally do not apply to her. Stolas, for all his faults when he was doing the nasty with Blitz, he didn't really put too much effort into hiding the affair, as he was mostly just around other imps or people who were beneath him in the hierarchy. People were calling Blitz out on the situation, but none of the people here said anything to Stolas, as unless you were another Goisha, you really just didn't want to risk it. As it took Osmodeus, the sin of lust, calling out Stolas for everyone else to start joining in on the dog pile. Also, like Beelzebub, sin of gluttony. Indulging in excess is kind of her whole thing, so her doing whoever she wants is very fitting. Then there's a small hiccup to that, as you think that grace would also apply to Osmodeus himself, but we already know that the tabloids are gonna call him out for banging Fizz, causing some questions to be raised. Though I think this whole situation relates more to how he very publicly outed Stolas home-wrecking with an imp, so for Oz to also be getting his freak on with an imp, the real drama here is not that he is sleeping with one, it's more about his hypocrisy of calling someone out only to be doing the same behavior. And keep this in mind, most of what we know about imp and other demon relationships are filtered through our perception of Stolas and Blitz. And to be real, I think we may just have to accept the fact that maybe the Goisha are just assholes.
Nice, ouch!
Don't bow to that one. He bows to us, idiot.
We've been given some hints about what the other leaders of hell are like, and they are all freaks. Lucifer is leading a 7-ring circus, and they are all having a blast. But the excess and lack of standards at the top and bottom of hell are all in contrast to the Goisha, who serve as the stuffy, upper, middle crust of hell, where duty, image, and prestige take precedent. The Goisha might be just the most classist people in hell, feeling like they have to constantly remind people that they are better than them, as they are well aware of the fact that, within the grand scheme of things, they're kinda just middle management. So they would be obsessed with their status, constantly reminding people of it, romantically keeping to themselves. So with the Goisha's reputation for being classist, it makes the novelty of Stolas having a very public affair with his social lesser all the more prominent and eyebrow-raising. as it's been confirmed that various demons are hybrids. Striker, for example, is part imp and part something else, so it's not unheard of or even particularly noteworthy, as no one really comments on it. So while lower demons having relationships with other demons might not be as exceptional or shameful as we were led to believe, it's still his status as a Goisha that really makes it so exceptional. And bringing it back to Beelzebub, we also need to talk about the most obvious reason for why no one would really care about this, as it really is staring us in the face. As like, look at her. She's already a furry. Being based on Fox with some B features thrown in there, it seems like the different 7 deadly sins, more than just embodying their sin, also correlate to different subclasses of demons. Asmodeus is based on a rooster, and has a special connection to the all-avian Goisha, being able to recognize Stolas at a glance. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that Beelzebub, by extension the Ring of Gluttony, could be primarily associated with hellhounds. Potentially this could be their original ring, kinda like how imps are all associated with wrath. This could mean that hellhounds might be treated better in Gluttony than anywhere else in hell, which would normalize B and Tex's relationship so that it isn't even really noteworthy. As this is a hound party, B is throwing these things on the reg for her friends and other hellhounds, with the rest of the guest list being filled with imps rather than other technically higher classes of demons, implying that pretty much everyone is accepted in B's domain, just like how everyone can be gluttonous, as it truly is the lowest common denominator sin. So nobody is really sweating status. We already know that each ring has their own distinct culture and values. Wrath is just basically Texas. Greed is ripoff and Mafia Central, so Gluttony could just be the party town where hellhounds finally caught a break, which would make Tex and B's relationship way less strange than you would think, leaving the only real question being, how did these two meet and hook up since, again, damn.
Now let's dance.
But now just to give my thoughts on them as a couple, they're hot and adorable. Truly RIP to anybody who was trying to ship Vortex and Luna, as these two seem to be rock solid, bringing the grand total of healthy relationships in hell to 4. B is on a permanent sugar high, a little bit all over the place, rambly, but overall she's a nice person. She may not always say the right thing, but there's no malice here. And when there is, you'll know it. B continues a trend set by Asmodeus, where in spite of them being the leaders of hell, they're actually fairly reasonable people. Like Ozzy might be a dick, but he's not wrong in saying that Moxie brought a love ballad to an orgy and was killing the vibe. E, despite looking like she is one twist away from being a villain, where she could be feeding off the energy of her audience, she's actually genuine and just wants everyone to have a good time, which to her means getting shit-faced. Though B is also very aware when someone is just doing it to avoid their problems, rather than actually enjoying it. This characterization has a positive effect of putting her and Vortex on the same page. Tex may not be going as hard as everyone else, he's making sure that the party goes smoothly, and that everyone is having a good time, being sure to introduce Luna to everybody, and keeping an eye out in case of trouble. B and Tex are the host. They are the responsible party elders trying to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So even if they have completely different vibes, the extreme social butterfly to the more down-to-earth and low-key, they're still on the same page. While we only got a few brief glimpses of them together, it's clear they are very happy with what they have. Though not everything is perfect, which is to be expected. As Tex may love to watch his woman work, even he doesn't really know how to take B lust rambling about how hot Satan is.
It was fine. I could hit that.
Like B is from a very different world, has some very high-class friends, but Tex is not sweating it, he is not insecure in their relationship. But again, how is he supposed to react here, as she is doing this as he's trying to introduce her to Luna? Honestly though, they seem good for each other. Vortex manages to keep B semi-on track, as she goes from personal details to remembering that Luna is even here, with the two of them later noticing that Blitz is not doing okay, and suggests Luna should go check up on him. They don't stick their nose too much into the situation, they just give the heads up and go back to enjoying their night. But from the nuzzling to the smiles, these two are just adorable together, and I really hope to see more of them. But unfortunately, we are probably never gonna see this woman again. As yeah, she's voiced by Kesha. And if Norman Reedus being recast as Striker shows anything, it's that celebrity talent are a nightmare to schedule. So while she may have a cameo later down the road, unless there's a different voice in that throat, Beelzebub will not be appearing again anytime soon. Which is sad, but you get it. Especially since this hair must have been a goddamn nightmare to animate. Also, while I'm here, I can understand everyone who thinks that Beelzebub's design has too much going on. It's a lot. And personally, I think they could have ditched the honey tummy. But while I may not put the B in Beelzebub as a tribute to the Die Young music video, I think it works. As this character was made for the visual spectacle of cotton candy, Though I do think everyone who's mad that they didn't make her fat because gluttony really gotta recheck the definition of gluttony, as it means to indulge to excess, and not everyone who eats too much is fat, just like how not everyone who is plus size is unhealthy. Though that does kind of fall into people's weird obsession with has-been hotels' range of body types. Like, yes, there's clearly a preference for skinny bitches. Let's not act like Viv is somehow extra guilty here. Most animated shows could be better at this. But that's all I gotta say. This has just been my general thoughts on Tex and Bee. Hell is full of hypocrisies, but they're cute, and not as wild of a pairing as you'd think. Tell me what you all thought down below. Are you still in denial and rooting for Luna and Tex? And remember to like, share, and subscribe to remind yourself and others that I exist. And more importantly, to keep the algorithm off my back. Love you all. Peace out.